Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good afternoon, and a very warm welcome to you to this first weekend edition of the Iftar Drive. My name is Zahid Jadwat, and I'll be with you up until 6 p.m. this afternoon. So, just shortly before Iftar in Johannesburg. And we've got a lot to discuss. Of course, I am coming to you live from the Salam Media Studios in Johannesburg, South Africa. A very wet and cool afternoon today in Johannesburg, and we've got quite a bit to discuss this afternoon, although it is a weekend, but the news still goes on. Let's give you a quick rundown of the show for today. Of course, we are going to begin shortly with an interview. We're going to be speaking to Noor Ahmed from the Palestine Solidarity Alliance, and she's going to be speaking to us about just the events, some of the major events that have transpired in Palestine. Of course, things do tend to get quite tense in that area, especially during Ramadan. And it shouldn't be that way, but we'll be speaking to Noor Ahmed to find out more about that. And then, of course, we'll move over to the Eastern Cape later on in the show as well, where more than 150 families have had to be evacuated in Port St. John's. Some devastating flooding happening there. We'll also throw in a bit of some spirituality. Of course, it is the month of Ramadan, so we will be listening to some lectures just to keep ourselves spiritually motivated as we edge closer to Iftar. And then, of course, we've got an important weekly segment coming up. Quite excited about that one. We will be speaking about matters especially pertaining to youth. That comes up at around 5 p.m. this afternoon, as well as every Saturday during the month of Ramadan. So you do wish to stay tuned for that one. And then later on, we'll also go to the Free State, where residents in Harrismith are in quite a sticky situation. No electricity. It's been about a week now, going into the second week, and of course, not a situation you want to find yourself in during Ramadan and at any other time of the year as well. And then, of course, some tafsir coming up closer to the end of the show, and then, of course, the closing and dua. So, lots to discuss. I do hope you'll engage with us throughout the show. Of course, you can find Salam Media on the major platforms, at Salam Media on Twitter as well. And you can watch our interviews as they happen live on YouTube. Please do stay tuned. Let's take an ad break. And when we get back, we will connect with Noor Ahmed.
Salam Media, your spiritual companion this Ramadan.
Do you want to make a real impact this Ramadan? Donate your zakah to Ashraful Aid. Your zakah can help feed an orphan, support a widow, build a home for a refugee family, sponsor a HIF student, and much more. With Ashraful Aid, you can make a real difference. Visit our website at www.ashrafulaid.org to make a donation. Make your Ramadan meaningful with Ashraful Aid.
Discover the Africa of your dreams and surround yourself with her spectacular beauty. Relax beneath her serene sunsets and explore wildlife at its natural best. It's where the pride of Africa comes together. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve. Get to know the Big Five or cruise on an elephant safari game drive. Interact with lion and tiger cubs and enjoy world-class halal cuisine while we pamper you during your 5-star stay. Indulge in the true African experience. For reservations, call now on 042-203-1400 or visit kwantu.co.za. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve, the place of gathering.
Conveniently located along the banks of the Crocodile River bordering the Kruger National Park, as a guest at Buckler's Africa Lodge, one can enjoy an amazing sunrise or sunset on our spacious deck area while you catch a glimpse of some wildlife sightings along the Crocodile River. The sounds of the African savannah will greet you whilst you enjoy your morning coffee. Buckler's Africa Lodge, by Tingana Collection. Buckler's Africa Lodge is ideally situated only 6 kilometers from the Crocodile Bridge Gate in the Kruger National Park. Catering for all travelers with variety, we have 4 types of the finest rooms: superior rooms, deluxe suites, and 2-bedroomed family units. Each room is equipped with the finest amenities to make your stay unforgettable. Guests can choose between the self-catering option or book their accommodation with breakfast and dinner included. Buckler's Africa Lodge is your ideal location for the ultimate Kruger getaway experience. We specialize in exhilarating and educational game drives in Kruger, tailor-made to suit your family. Inquire about our various accommodation offerings and other activities. Visit www.tingana.co.za for more information. Buckler's Africa Lodge by Tingana Collection. Experience the pulse of Africa with us. At Sentio, our Invest for Good philosophy is based on a genuine desire to use our investment skills for the benefit of broader society by investing responsibly, giving charitably, and developing talent that will transform the investment industry. Visit www.sentio-capital.com for more information about our Sharia investment products and start saving with us today. Sentio Capital. Invest for good. Sentio Capital Management is an authorized financial services provider.
From samosas and half moons to cook sisters and roti, everything between iftar and seri makes sunfoil cooking oil an essential part of your Ramadan. Approved by the Heart and Stroke Foundation as part of a healthy diet, this blessed month, give your family the best with sunfoil, because tradition just tastes better. From samosas and half moons.
Salam Media, your spiritual companion this Ramadan.
And welcome back. You are tuned into the Iftar Drive right here on Salam Media. I'm Zahid Jadwat, and I'll be keeping you company right up until 6 p.m. this afternoon. Let's now move over to Palestine, where it seems there's quite a difficult situation. Once again, Israeli authorities now imposing restrictions and also certain deadly attacks also happening during raids in Palestine. So to get a better sense of what is going on there and to understand the story better, let's speak now to Noor Ahmed, who is joining us on the line. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the show. Noor, are you there?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you much better. All right. So I think Palestine, we always seem to need this discussion around the situation in Palestine especially when it comes to Ramadan, because of the atrocities that are perpetrated in that place. And I think those intensify or seem to intensify, especially during Ramadan, which is really unfortunate for the Palestinians themselves and for the Muslim world abroad as well. So I think, can you give us an overview? What is happening in Palestine at the moment? I do understand that to start off Ramadan yesterday, which was the first day of Ramadan in Palestine, the Israeli authorities seemingly imposing restrictions on who can and who cannot enter the Masjid al-Aqsa on the first day of Ramadan. Not a good story.
Yes, so currently what's happening is that we've heard reports of different restrictions that have been imposed on the Palestinians by Israel's apartheid regime. So the main aim is to restrict Palestinian movement into the Al-Aqsa compound. So they're trying to stop Palestinians from all over, including West Bank, 48 territories and the Gaza Strip from being able to access the holy site of Al-Aqsa. So what they're not doing is that Palestinians need to have a very specific permit in order to be able to gain access into Al-Aqsa. So they barricaded gates that are going into Al-Aqsa. And the Palestinians had a really difficult time accessing Al-Aqsa to begin with. They could only access Al-Aqsa using the domestic gate. so only one entrance, whereas Israelis could walk in anytime without any hindrance. But now they've imposed specific permit requirements. So they are requesting that women and children can go into Al-Aqsa, and men over 55 years old will be allowed to enter without a permit. But what we're seeing on the ground is something completely different, with old men and children being denied entry on the basis of not having what their own valid permit. Ramadan is an important holy time for us as Muslims, and not being able to access Al-Aqsa, not being able to go there for all of your salah, not being able to go there for iftar, to break the fast. It's very, very difficult for Palestinians.
And from the Israeli side, what sort of reasons have they provided for restricting this access? They do claim that they are allowing Palestinians to access what is, we all know, Islam's third holiest site, and a very important place for Palestinians. What are the reasons that the Israeli authorities are providing for restricting this access?
Well, the reasons that they've given is quote-unquote security measures, but they might be saying that we are allowing Palestinians access, but we know very well that what Israel says versus what it actually does is very different. It has always increased aggression against the Palestinians during the holy month of Ramadan in previous years, and it has desecrated the third holiest site for us in the past. So their reasons aren't very valid because they call it security reasons, but they are, I think, trying to just hinder Palestinians, trying to make their daily lives more difficult. It's the small things, it's the not being able to access your place of worship without being stopped by armed soldiers. And it's these small steps, these not steps, but these small policies or laws or restrictions that Israel poses, all of them combine to make daily lives for Palestinians even more difficult. And it's becoming even worse during the month of Ramadan.
And we do understand that, this comes at a time when Israel has actually been, doing quite a number of raids on Palestinian settlements. And, this is actually not really something that is new. It's been going on for quite a while, and it has actually been quite deadly as well. In fact, if we just look at the stats for this year so far, and it's now, we haven't even reached April as yet, but 90 Palestinians have been killed since the start of this year. And most of those are in raids, and also over a dozen of those lives, unfortunately, were children as well. So, of course, even now in Ramadan, no lives were spared as well. We see that one person has already been killed on the first day of Ramadan in Palestine. So what can you tell us about the tensions at the moment, these Israeli raids and the way they're justifying this? What's going on there?
Sorry, the line's a little patchy, so I couldn't hear the question. Would you mind repeating it?
Sure. So I was speaking about the tensions that have been present in Palestine for quite some time now. I think it's been for a great part of this year, as well as some of last year as well. And unfortunately, around 90 Palestinians have been killed in this situation. And of course, Ramadan was no excuse for the Israelis to stop their aggression as well. So we've seen how at least one person has already been killed in such incidents. What is going on there? What is Israel trying to do? And, do you see this ceasing at any point soon?
Israeli aggression has picked up quite a lot over the past few years. And currently what we're seeing is that there's been an increase in with the election of the Israeli right-wing government that's currently in power at the moment. What has happened is that the extremist and Zionists have kind of gotten a free pass to be able to express their sentiments freely and openly, and they're actually encouraged by the new right-wing government to perpetrate violence against Palestinians, which has led to, unfortunately, a lot of loss of civilian including older people, women and children. And what we see happening is that Israel is targeting specific areas in Palestine, like the West Bank, like Gaza, like we saw happen in Nablus a few weeks ago, and Jenin. And what they're doing is a continuous onslaught. And the purpose behind it is essentially to break the will of the Palestinian people, to break the resistance, and essentially at the end of the day, take over all Palestinian land and take over all Palestine. And it's a massive settler colonial project. It's a massive ethnic cleansing project. And unfortunately, they are being successful in their efforts because there is no direct Palestinian resistance, and the few international voices that are speaking out against Israel is not a lot of international approach that is trying to stop Israel. Yeah.
Yes, of course, there are also fears now growing that there could be a wider outbreak of violence next month when Passover, Easter, as well as Ramadan all overlap. And there've also been there's been a meeting between Israeli and Palestinian officials over the weekend in a bid to ease these tensions between the two sides. Um, this meeting, of course, we understand took place at the Egyptian resort city of Sharm el Sheikh and was backed by Egyptian, American, as well as Jordanian officials. What can you tell us about this meeting in particular?
Sorry, Zahid, the line wasn't very clear. Would you mind repeating your question again?
Sure. So there has been a meeting, I understand, this weekend between Palestinian and Israeli officials in the Egyptian resort city of Sharm el Sheikh. This was obviously backed by Egyptian as well as American and Jordanian officials. This was a one-day meeting. What do you see coming out from this meeting, and do you see any possible resolution to the current tensions?
Look, as people who are involved in the Palestine solidarity movement overseas, we can only be hopeful, but we also have to be realistic. There's been many things that have happened in the past that are similar to this, where there hasn't actually been any kind of resolution. And when I say resolution, I mean mirror what Palestinians think in terms of a resolution, and that is to stop the occupation and to stop the settler colonial project. So what Israel would assume as a resolution would be to continue with occupation but find some kind of quote-unquote peace. But no peace is really possible when you have Israel occupying Palestinians, you have Israel taking over Palestinian homes, you have Israel burning Palestinian crops, taking over Palestinian farms, displacing Palestinians in any way that it possibly can. So in terms of that, there can't really be any kind of peace or resolution. So these meetings can happen, and we know that backed by the Americans and the Egyptians, but we just have to look at the history of what and the role that Americans and Egyptians have played in the Palestinian occupation, and just be wary of such meetings.
All right, I guess we'll leave it then for this week. Hopefully, things won't get too bad over there in Palestine. And we are, of course, always with the people of Palestine, especially as we observe the holy month of Ramadan. But you go well, Noor Ahmed, and take care.
Thank you, Zahid. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. That was Noor Ahmed from the Palestine Solidarity Alliance, just giving us an update about the situation in Palestine. Of course, yesterday having been the first day of Ramadan there, and already it seems Israeli authorities quite eager to, mete out their oppression during the month of Ramadan, with no regard to the holiness of the month or the feelings and well-being of Palestinians, as we've always seen. Nonetheless, let's take a break now. When we get back, we go to the Eastern Cape. Please do stay tuned.